The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are a permanent pop culture phenomenon. From now until the end of time, there will be hordes of artists drawing them every second of every day, somewhere in the world. Today, I will be joining their ranks. Wish me luck. Greetings all, my name is Kontrol. I'm a professional artist and a huge fan of classic Marvel and DC comics. You're watching the latest in a series of gaming pinup videos, so if you like what you see, think about hitting the like button on your way out and subscribe for more. This is the big one, people, by far the most requested artwork in this channel's short but storied history. The subject of this week's pinup art needs no introduction.
When do you ever draw stuff that needs introduction? Don't we usually stick to really popular game licenses?
I guess so, but it's not like a hard and fast rule or anything.
It is, though. You even said so in our first Kontrol Incorporated meeting.
Oh, come on. I think we both know I never said anything like that.
You asked me to record it.
Alright, now I've already started putting my list of games together for the drawing channel. We'll kick things off with League of Legends, Overwatch, and maybe Resident Evil.
You should draw Mace Griffin, Bounty Hunter.
Mace Griffin, right. Yeah, why not the Bouncer? Or maybe Zero Divide while we're at it.
You're, being sarcastic, aren't you?
This is YouTube, man. Videos need to be about something you know and love. Or hate. You want to survive and thrive, you draw Elder Scrolls 5.
Surely that's not a hard and fast rule, though, right?
It is as long as I'm the boss up in this bitch. Now get lost. I need to work on my professional announcer voice.
Greetings all, my name is Kontrol. I'm a professional artist. Holy crap, have you recorded all our meetings?
Just like you asked.
Even the ones where I...
Talk about your embezzlement schemes and insider trading? Yes.
Well, no big deal. Tapes can be destroyed, right? And remind me to delete this exchange from the final video, would you?
No problem.
So anyway, the obvious point is, well, yeah, even my mother has heard of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is pretty reliable evidence that something has expanded well beyond its genre boundaries into mainstream consciousness. So, obviously, there's no need for my usual cursory overview of the subject.
There never is. But, when does that ever stop?
What is not well known at all is my own personal history with the various Ninja Turtles video games. Naturally, given the popularity and durability of the license, there have been several dozen of those. But there are only two that ever really earned my attention. Interestingly, they were both from the 16-bit era of gaming, and both were based on the Ninja Turtles' very first cartoon incarnation. Pretty much all the best games were coming out of Japan back then, and Konami was still considered to be near the absolute pinnacle of game designers.
Ha! Sure, Kontrol.
No, they really were.
Says the guy who tried to convince me there was something called Vanilla Ice back then. You're just trying to scare me again.
Now, I honestly can't remember what came first, the 8-bit side-scrolling Ninja Turtles game for the old Nintendo Entertainment System of my childhood, or the 4-player co-op arcade machine that showed up in every New York bowling alley. But what I can tell you is the arcade version was the first time the characters ever got my full attention. I didn't play the generic 8-bit side-scroller, and I never watched the silly-looking cartoon show. But 4-player co-op games didn't exactly grow on trees in those days, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles brought fluid graphics and tight gameplay right along with it. It was also one of those arcade machines where you could just step up, put in a quarter, and jump right in as long as one of the 4 slots was open. A fantastic thing in the awful wait your turn arcade days of old. Unfortunately, I wouldn't get to play anything quite like it at home until the amazing Turtles in Time showed up for the Super Nintendo a few years later. A truly amazing console game for its day that actually improved on the original arcade game, although with a limitation of 2 turtles instead of 4, of course. The other Turtles game I got big into was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters, which was for all intents and purposes just Street Fighter 2 with the Ninja Turtles and other characters from their universe. Now, before you get on Konami's case, repurposing Street Fighter 2 with new characters was practically mandatory game design in those days, and Capcom did it more than anybody. And yes, sometimes the results were appalling.
Han Solo versus Princess Leia. Ready? Fight!
Please tell me people went to jail.
Lucasfilm's darkest hour.
Until Ryan Johnson came along and said, hold my beer.
Little known fact. Turtles Tournament Fighters is actually brilliant. The fighting techniques were well thought out, the turtles all have individualized move lists, the supporting casts are great, and the graphics and animation were surprisingly sturdy. The only thing really holding this game back was the huge number of fighting games appearing at roughly the same time. The fighting game genre has evolved much over the ensuing decades, so I wouldn't have much interest in returning to something like Tournament Fighters, but in its day, damn.
Control, it doesn't look like you're drawing the Konami Ninja Turtles, are you?
What? Sure I am. Okay, no, I'm not. What I actually decided to draw was sort of a hybrid between classic 90s Turtles and the 2012 CG Nickelodeon series. The CG Nick show is most prominent in my mind because I actually watched the thing, at least until they went to outer space and things started getting weird. I was introduced to the series months before it premiered because the design house I worked for had the t-shirt license. What we discovered early on was the Turtles now had distinguishing visual characteristics beyond mask colors and weapons. I could now identify each turtle weaponless from a black and white photo. Once the show was on the air, there was no denying the amazing amount of love and care that went into its production. And not just on the design side of things, but also the story and characterizations. As kids' television goes, it was about as good as anything I've ever watched, and I consider it the definitive version of Ninja Turtles as of this writing. So, naturally that show's aesthetic dominates in my pinup. I did revert back to the original show's more human-looking anatomy for the limbs. The biggest nod to the 2012 TMNT is my inclusion of teenage April, well into her ninja training from Master Splinter himself. Yeah, you heard that right. Ninja Turtles are notoriously simple to draw, so naturally I decided to make life difficult by dropping them into a complex city background. Brooklyn? Judging from the angle? I'm not all that confident that the final result is entirely successful, but as usual, that determination is always made by you, the amazing viewer. This is of course the part where I thank you so much for watching until the end, and I'm 100% certain you're not the type of cruel fiend who would skip to the end just to see the final result early. Of course not. But, as Ronald Reagan once said, trust but verify. So here's a quiz. At what minute and second did I insert my weekly mandatory cheap shot at The Last Jedi? Leave your test answer in the comments, and no peeking. Pass or fail, don't forget to hit that like button before checking out, and subscribe if the content here only mildly offended you. Until next time, Control out.